Okay, you guys, you can unmute now, guys. Okay. Good. Cool. Okay. Well, good evening. Good evening. Good morning. Good night, wherever you might be in the world. Because I know I've got some followers around various parts of our world, which may or may not be flat. Who we do not know. That's an inside joke, by the way, guys. I got something. Yeah, got something a little bit different from what I normally have today. I've got a very, very special guest. This Les, aka Fruitbat, is probably best known for his time in the band Carter the Unstoppable Sex Machine. It's the band that bears his name. I've got a good friend of mine, Mark, co-hosting with me tonight. Mark's I think this is a bit of a new thing for you, Mark. I don't think you've been on like YouTube before or conducted an interview, but I asked you onto this because you kind of, as people might have gathered from my intro, I'm a bit more hard rocky, heavy metal kind of guy. Because you kind of introduced me to some of Les's music, and then a little bit later, actually, to Les himself. So, so I think you've got probably far better knowledge of Les's career than I actually would have. But so I've invited on Les to maybe talk a bit about his career and say his music. We're just going to try and keep this a somewhat free-flowing kind of conversation, nothing too like rigid with formal questions and that. So first of all, Les, welcome to the channel, my friend. How are you doing today?
I'm feeling good. It's been a nice day, isn't it?
It has been very nice. It's just say the lockdown sucks a bit, but
I've got a garden. I'm very lucky to have a garden. I spent quite a lot of time in my garden. It's a lot neater than usual.
Yeah.
You've been hugely productive as well as sorry. You've been hugely productive. Was it 2 EPs?
I've been quite busy.
Yeah. Both
today, I've been doing things today. Been mixing stuff and writing stuff today.
Have you? Yeah. Fantastic. Now, sorry, Jeff. Go on.
No, go on, Mark.
Did somebody there? Am I allowed?
You can. By the way, the rules on this channel are you can drink, you can drink, you can swear. Obviously, be a little bit. I will just say be a little bit careful about some fairly obvious words, because YouTube do get a little. YouTube, I've noticed, I'm getting a little bit trigger happy with killing streams for various reasons. Hence why I didn't use any of any Carter music that may be on YouTube, because the algorithm will just probably strike it for copyright immediately. Yeah. So YouTube's being a little probably a little more than normal to actually at the moment, being a bit funny about that sort of thing. So if we just jump into it then. I don't know if you heard you talk really about some of your musical influences, and who sort of people that may have inspired you to get into to wanting to learn to play the guitar and wanting to learn music.
Well, my cousin was in a band in the 60s, and he made some records, and sometime during, probably I was about 8 or 9, 10 maybe, the records came to the house. His records came to the house, and I thought it was the most amazing thing ever. And from that point, I decided that I want to make a record. And I thought, how do I do that then? Oh, shit, I have to play guitar. I have to learn to play guitar. And then I spent the next 8 years trying to persuade my dad to buy me a guitar. And when he finally did, he really regretted it.
Just as well you didn't ask him for a drum kit then.
Don't think I ever would have got a drum kit.
Yeah, the guitar was about all they were going to tolerate on that one. Was that fun.
And I think if I'd have realised what a racket I'd make with it, they probably wouldn't have even bought me that.
Yeah. So what about sort of actual influences on on your music? Like sort of bands that you may have liked that might have inspired you. Bands were you kind of into growing up?
Well, I mean, when I was sort of pre-teen, I suppose, it was basically watching Top of the Pops and liking pretty much everything on Top of the Pops.
Mm.
My dad was really into kind of 60s stuff, and kind of wartime tunes because he was that kind of age. My dad was born in 1915, so he kind of went through all of that stuff. And one of my aunties gave us a load of 7-inch singles, which had Frank Highfield and Elvis and the Beatles and stuff like that. So all of that stuff that I listened to, that became kind of like my musical foundation, I suppose. And then when I kind of had the money to actually go out and buy my own records, it was influenced by what was on Top of the Pops and on Radio 1 at the time. So I heard David Bowie doing John I'm Only Dancing. I thought it was an amazing thing. So that I went out and got that. And all of that kind of glam rock kind of related stuff. I loved all that stuff. And then when I got to the later teens, I got into punk rock.
Yeah.
And and then the electronic stuff that came after that.
Yeah.
So like that. And AC/DC at the same time.
It's a man after my own heart.
Like I saw AC/DC for the first time in 1977 at playing in the Marquee in London, and I saw him quite a few times there. And I think I saw him about 4 times there in the end, something like that. And I love them to this day.
Yes, a man very much after my own heart there. That's what Mark will tell you. I've been one of my favourite bands ever for like years.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
I was lucky enough to go and see them in 2015 at Wembley Stadium. So, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, never got to see them with Bon Scott. Although I do have a friend who actually saw Bon Scott's last ever gig, and said apparently Diamond Head was supporting them that night, which is another band from obviously the kind of music I'm into. You can imagine I'm a big fan of Diamond Head as well. So, you've had quite. Oh dear, I'm sorry, a bit of a cough at the moment, but so you've had quite a mix there, really, of influences, and I think I found this a couple of times when I have spoken to musicians. Sometimes you'd find that stuff that you wouldn't necessarily think would be an influence is like. I mean, I had a very good friend who's like a black metal musician, so you expect sort of there's obviously some of the influences you'd expect, someone like Motorhead or Venom or whatever, but he'd also cite somebody like Billie Holiday as a massive influence on him. So, which sounds very strange on the surface of it, but I've often found that it's once you start, I suppose, when you start learning, what sort of first bands you sort of really got involved with or anything?
I had a couple of school bands, I suppose. So when I was 15 or so, first band I was in were called Triple S, I think. Was that them? Yeah, Triple S. And that was just me and my mate Pete, it was actually my mate Pete who taught me the 4 guitar chords that I know still. and kind of from that, from my dad buying me the guitar and then going around my mate Pete's house, he taught me how to play C and E minor and D, and then I started writing songs from that. And then because I started writing songs, then I wanted to play them, so we organised a gig in the geography room, and my mum came, and a couple of other parents came, and that was the last gig that my mum ever came to.
So okay, you've done the obligatory supporting my son's hobby, and that's enough of that. Thank you very much.
My dad came to a couple couple later on. But yeah, he wasn't that keen either, really, to be honest.
So
was that when was it the Ballpoints, your first band with Jim Bob?
Yeah, that was a bit later. That was in like 1978 or 79 or something.
So that's punk era, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. I mean, I was in several bands at that point. I had my own band, who were a bit like we were trying to be Ultravox, but it didn't quite work properly because we didn't have any electronics. So it was like, if you imagine Ultravox without any electronics, that's what we kind of sounded like.
No, fair enough.
With me singing. I was playing bass in those days. And then I was in a punk band called Dead Clergy.
Right.
It was a very straightforward punk band. They were brilliant, actually. I really like that band. And then I think I got matey with Jim because my best friend at school's cousin was in Jim's band. So there was a kind of connection there. Right. And then one day he needed a bass player for the Ballpoints. And I said, all right, then, I'll do that.
And then history was made.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we got that in.
I actually, probably like a lot of Carter fans, sort of discovered Jamie Wednesday retrospectively, really, on Carter. And they were really good, and it kind of strikes me as they were possibly a bit overlooked at the time. How did you feel about it? Was it you and Jim kind of finding your feet, or was it?
Yeah, I mean, Jamie Wednesday, it was, I mean, before Jamie Wednesday, we were already writing stuff together. He'd come around my house and we'd write loads of stuff together. You know, we'd do demos and stuff of a lot of the songs that ended up being Jamie Wednesday songs, and then subsequently Carter songs as well were written in that kind of time when I first got with Jim. But yeah, I mean, I thought Jamie Wednesday was a really good band. You know, it was quite interesting. It was different at the time as well. And we did kind of hung on to the coattails of the cowpunk movement at the time because we liked all those guys. We really liked the Pogues and all of those bands. And it
made a lot of the Band of Holy Joy. Vaguely.
Yeah, that was definitely that kind of stuff in it. I mean, when we first started Jamie Wednesday, we had this idea it was kind of going to be a bit kind of Frank Sinatra kind of thing with kind of songs like that. Right. But it kind of evolved as things went along, and we kind of I thought it was a pretty good band.
Yeah. It's a shame really because there's no. I mean, I've heard the EPs. And like I say, we found them in a record fair, I think, when I was younger, and really liked them. But there's no footage anywhere, is there? Really, there's no kind of.
No, there's no footage at all.
It's
mad, really, because if you think about it now, if it was a band out now, there'd be just heaps of it all over YouTube, wouldn't there? But people didn't video things in that. You know, video camera was quite an expensive thing to have in those days.
Yeah,
well, probably about that big.
Well, just say then, anyone who's watching this who does have any footage of that, shout us up. I'm sure Les know.
Are you ever tempted to play those songs again, Les? Have you either you or Jim ever done that?
Not really. I mean, there's not an awful lot of them left that haven't been cannibalized.
Right.
Quite a lot of those songs. I mean, you know, quite a lot of songs that at the end of Jamie Wednesday became Carter songs straight, like Billy Smart Circus was a Jamie Wednesday song. The Only Living Boy in New Cross was a Jamie Wednesday song. It was Born Again Atheist. That it was a different title, different words. Probably loads of other songs that I can't even think of, but you know, there's a few that I don't think have been made into other songs yet, although Jim's had quite a few stabs at making them into other songs as well. There's only so many chords, isn't there?
I think they would stand the test of time. Like I said, I think they were undervalued at the time, probably. I suppose, but they sort of bumped in with the C86 thing a little bit.
Kind of, yeah, but it was really you know, in the same way that Carter was really separate from everything that was going on at the time, Jamie Wednesday we were part of a kind of a crowd, but we weren't really exactly right for it.
Yeah.
You know,
No, they're great. I think those. Well, actually, it would work well as a Smokin Donut song because it's kind of acoustic, a lot of it, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, we will.
Sing them. Well, no, I suppose Doozer could sing them.
I will just say I put the link to Smokin Donuts in the description of this stream as well. So people, if you're not familiar with Smokin Donuts, please check them out. So
definitely.
There's quite a few videos of Smokin Donuts because people have phones nowadays.
Yeah, I do have. I've put a couple of websites or bands Les is involved with in the description of this. Now, sorry, I always butcher the name of your other bands, to be honest. Abdoujaparov. Yeah, so that link to that's in there. I just also realised something. I meant to do this at the very beginning of the stream, but I better mention it now. That that intro that I played at the beginning of the stream is the first time I've used that. So I've got to thank my friend Jen from Jen's Little Corner. That those who follow me will probably be familiar with her already, but link to her channels in the description as well. So please go and check her out, and if you haven't already. So I just realised, damn, I meant to mention Jen because she went out of her way to do that for me. So
well done, Jen.
Excellent work.
So you know, she's been playing for quite a few years. So when do you get to Carter, and I guess I suppose how was the name chosen to name the band after yourself? I don't know why. I assume there's a story behind this somewhere.
Yeah, there is. Well, basically, Jamie Wednesday was named after Jim's solo act. So in the element, the sort of fairness thing, the next band had to be named after my solo act. I had a solo act called Cartoon Carter. But we also had a song, Jamie Wednesday's song called Conked Out Sex Machine. And so we kind of combined the two together and made it a little bit more sexy. Because I think when we first started, that was a different, when we first started Carter, it was going to be a lot more abrasive, a lot more like Zig Zig Sputnik and really kind of in your face. But then we started writing songs that didn't quite fit. And it kind of Carter just evolved with the technology that we had at the time as well.
Oh,
as you say, it was quite different from with Big Cat with 101 Damnations. With Big Cat behind that straight away, because it was quite sort of 89, 90. At least the popular indie music scene was, I don't know, the sort of baggy stuff coming out of Manchester and that kind of thing. So it was notably different.
Yeah. Well, I think we were just really lucky. We just bumped into the right people. The right people came to our gigs at the right time.
Cool.
And kind of got what we were doing, even though it was very scrappy what we were doing at the time. They kind of got the concept of what we were trying to do, and. Yeah, I mean, Big Cat got on pretty much. I mean, we made our first demo and sent it to Big Cat, and they said we want to release something. So that was really easy. That's how the dream ones work, isn't it?
Sorry, Jeff. Go on.
No, go on, Mark.
No, I mean, it's a fantastic album. It stood the test of time as well. I think probably more raw than perhaps some of the later output, and it is a fantastic album.
Yeah, we were just using what we kind of had at the time, and we had really limited access to the studio. We had to save up. It was like £30 a day for the studio, and we had to save up. And every now and again, we had enough money to go back in and do something else. We didn't have the sampler, so we had to use a cassette. I had to get the samples off of records on my record deck and play it into a cassette deck, and pause it, put it back on again and pause it. And then when we made the recordings, when we did the mixing of the recordings, we were pausing and starting a tape player, trying to get samples. So it wasn't like, 19 kind of thing. Pause, stop.
It works. That's not evident at all.
So I guess so mean, I mean, okay, now I am. I'm probably imagining some of this information's wrong because I'm I'm looking on Wikipedia, Les. To be honest, that's which is notoriously unreliable at times. But it says you guys started out in like 1987, but your first single was in 1988. Is that correct?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was again, that was good. See, I liked A Sheltered Life. I thought that was what was the chart performance of that, Les? Did that with A Sheltered Life, did that grab attention at the indie chart?
It flopped really badly, that one. That's a funny one, that one, because part of Big Cat and Southern was John Loder, who'd produced the Jesus and Mary Chain, couple of Jesus and Mary Chain things. Yeah. And we thought that'd be brilliant because we wanted to have something that was really noisy and horrible. And he was making really noisy and horrible, brilliant records. And we thought that was going to work really well. But he wanted the drum machine to sound more like a drummer. Right. And we were fighting him the whole time. The only thing he agreed with was that I wanted loads of feedback on it. Oh yeah, we can do that. So it wasn't quite the record that we thought it was going to be. I prefer the demo. I think is better than the single. And I think we did a BBC session. We played it on a BBC session of that. I think that's my favourite version of it on that one.
Yeah. I mean, I sometimes it's a bit strange at times when with music it might. I mean, I don't even know if I've told Mark this, but my ex's dad was tried to make a go of music back in the early 70s, and I think that he's just only single he got, which did get played on Radio 1 once, and got absolutely panned by Noel Edmonds on there. As she played it, it was this kind of prog rocky kind of thing, which really wasn't him at all. But it was just like, it was the era when I suppose that, someone was encouraging him to say prog rock's really in, let's do this. But the B-side was totally different altogether, and I was like, that's the one you should. And it was like, damn, that's the one that actually I think that had been released as a single. That probably would have gone somewhere. It's hard to say though, isn't it? But
it's hard, yeah. Single choice is a difficult one. I almost vetoed Sheriff Fatman being a single.
Did you?
I didn't think it was to be a single, so never trust me when I'm.
It's great. I can see where you're coming from. It's a brilliant song list, but it wasn't typical of the album. Maybe it's
no. I mean, it's funny because it was exactly what we were trying to kind of do, kind of in our own kind of white boy way, kind of do some kind of rappy kind of thing going on, some kind of hip hop thing going on. So it worked in that way, but yeah, I don't know. I think we mixed it too many times, and I got bored of it by the time
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably just as well. You didn't succeed in that veto though, because that was your next single.
Yeah. I don't know that would have been the single otherwise.
Yeah, and obviously I think that one, I suppose, kind of put you on the map. I suppose really that song.
Yeah,
it's definitely a song I absolutely love. Just want to say Brain Bugs in the chat. We've got people watching, not many in the live chat today though, for some reason. So hello, Brain Bug.
It's not a live comments thing in there.
Yeah. Critical Cripples there as well. So I thought he'd be lurking somewhere in the background, but
so people can ask.
There is something coming up on the live comments. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not particularly intelligent.
Where I can't. So it should have instruction.
That's on. That's on the YouTube stream, Mark, which I was advising you not to play in the background because for echo, because we get echo.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you do, anyone does have a question for Les in the chat, feel free to tag me in the chat and then ask a question. So where are we? Yes, Sheriff Fat Man. So this kind of put you on the map.
It put us into the indie discos, which was the important thing at the time.
It's still there. It's still there.
Just
Sheriff,
indie discos, yeah. It's the same people that go into the indie discos.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I think saying here it reached number 21. No, that was the album chart. I'm trying to see which one. Where did Sheriff Fat Man actually go in the charts? Is it because
I think the first time, because it was released twice. I think the first time round, I don't think it bothered the main charts at all. Don't think so. I'll probably be corrected by someone smarter than me, but
I remember it.
Have you got your Wikipedia in front of you?
Wikipedia is useless for this. But
the chart website is quite good.
Yeah,
because we do a pub quiz every week, and I always try and find something like who's what was someone's first number one or something, and I always look it up on that, and that's quite useful.
It's sometimes quite sometimes it's quite surprising when you see people that were like number one in the charts, and you're like, never heard of them. But it's like well,
that's now for me.
Yeah.
I mean, not number one. It's like the top 40. I have no idea.
I couldn't tell you anyone who's in the top 40 right now. Honestly,
no,
I couldn't tell you anyone.
So. I mean, for me, I'm too old to know what's in the top 40.
Yeah.
If I knew what was in the top 40, the kids are doing something wrong. That's what I reckon.
Yeah.
The fabric of that has changed a bit, hasn't it? I mean, there was indie music. It wasn't as well represented with more financially backed areas of music, but they did used to scrape the charts. But now it seems to me anyway that it is just entirely very manufactured, kind of very commercial pop music, and that's a bit of a shame, really. I think probably the papers going off the shelves is a factor there as well, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you say that it's all manufactured and it's like, but music has been like that quite a lot. It's quite a lot like that in the 70s and in the 80s too. I think it's just. I mean, for me, this will make me sound really old now. It all sounds the same to me.
I agree.
The difference between one song and the next.
Yeah. But I mean, I think there's always been a manufactured element in music. There's no two ways about that. I mean, but I think as well, a lot of the time, if there was like a new trend or something, or a new thing that got really big and come up by its own, it was the record labels would then go out and go mad on signing bands. Like for example, when heavy metal got like really big again in the early 80s, suddenly the record companies couldn't sign metal bands fast enough. Some better than others. Some you wonder how they ever got picked up. But it was just it's like we're following the trend at the moment. I mean, I imagine that might happen to some extent to this day. To this day as well, but I don't know what your thoughts on that would be. But
I think probably it does. Yeah, I mean, someone will have a huge hit with something. We need something that sounds a bit like that. Something that works. I know we've got this new thing called auto tune. Let's put that on it.
Yeah. So, I mean, are you getting to this point though? So you get to this point though when Carter really takes off, doesn't it? We've got a comment in here.
Oh, yeah, that would have been 91. Yeah,
I had
the
any good stories from the US tour? He's asking.
No, it's all censored.
He could tell you, but he'd have to.
The only bits we can tell are in Jim's book, and they're really boring.
One of the things actually that he does touch upon, but I've never asked you, Les, was during that time, unusually for a Western act, you played Eastern Europe loads just while it was dismantling. That must have been quite an interesting time to be there.
It was bonkers. Yeah, it's still like some of the most memorable bits of touring that we did, just because, I mean, it was really seat of your pants, because we'd turn up and we wouldn't know whether there'd be a gig or, you know, and then we'd end up asking around town to see if there's any gigs on, and then trying to like push our way into other people's gigs so that we could play. And it was great. I mean, we ended up sleeping on a lot of floors and, you know, getting lost and all sorts of things, but it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that must have been definitely very interesting. And I'm probably sure that in those countries where they're probably very happy to see bands from like Britain or wherever come in, you know.
Yeah, I think that it was kind of appreciated that someone had bothered to go over. Yeah. I mean, and we were very spoiled Western Europeans, really, like complaining about where's all the beer? What's there? Why can we only drink whiskey? We want beer.
Yeah,
things like that. And,
yeah,
and it was quite tricky being vegetarian as well, because I mean, a lot of the in East Germany in particular, they didn't really understand the concept. So they felt they kind of had the idea that vegetarian was something that only had a little bit of ham in it or a little bit of sausage, not no sausage.
Yeah.
So I just asked you a question, and I mean, to you, what was the during, you know, that run of Carter USM, what was the actual high point to you personally of that
I think kind of like the run up to when we played our first proper big festival, like we played Reading Festival for the first time, and that kind of the kind of roller coaster ride up to that point. So not any. Well, I think probably Reading, that first Reading we did in 92, 91. Yeah, 91 was probably when I had my dream of being a pop star, if you know what I mean. Yeah. That was kind of what I thought it was going to be like, being on stage at Reading, playing in front of all those people and everyone loving it. That was my idea. And so that was kind of that's always stood out to me as the one where I actually thought I was on stage and I thought, this is it. I've made it. This is it. Brilliant. You can correct me
if I'm wrong on this. You actually headlined Glastonbury, didn't you? You were one of the headline acts.
Glastonbury the year after, yeah.
Yeah. Is it true they tried to cut your set short though?
Yeah, kind of. Well, they did cut our set short. It was basically because Fishbone, who were the band on before us, ran over massively.
Yeah,
and no one bothered to tighten up the timings.
So
and we planned our whole set like really carefully, so we knew where we were going to end. We had a big Vesuvius at the end, so that everyone would think we were brilliant. And we lost about 2 songs from the end, so it kind of spoilt it for us.
Yeah, rightly so. Rightly so.
Yes, I mean, I seriously, I mean, I doubt that. I said, from festivals I've been to more recently, I doubt you'd sort of see that in many festivals now.
Now, because it's so commercial, they wouldn't.
Yeah, they're a bit stricter on that, on times and that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just one of those things on the day. Really, it's a bit of a shame, and it kind of spoilt it, because probably if that hadn't have happened, then probably headlining Glastonbury would have been, you know, the one that I'd be telling you is my favourite gig ever.
Yeah.
That's a tremendous headline in the pyramid stage is a story to tell.
I find it quite hard to believe myself.
No, entirely on merit though. I mean, the album preceding that was #1 in the charts, which never happened to an indie band ever.
Yeah.
Still a couple of years before Britpop, wasn't it? Before sort of any commercial breakthrough for alternative music. So that, I mean, it was entirely on merit. Am I right in thinking you initially Michael Eavis reacted really badly to your reaction, and then you were banned, but actually you played with Ferocious Smoker a couple of years ago.
Oh no, it's slightly it's slightly better on Michael Eavis's side than mine. Well, it was the year where they decided that they weren't going to let the travellers in for free.
Okay, right.
And I was, for some reason, I was really upset about this. I thought it was a horrible thing, because that was kind of part of what the Glastonbury thing was about. And so with that, plus them kicking us off 2 songs too early, and Michael Eavis being backstage as I came off stage.
Yeah.
I had a row with him.
Yeah.
Then I got banned from Glastonbury.
So that's still in effect today.
Glastonbury. Les Carter can go to Glastonbury. I've been there since, but Fruitbat's not back in.
Okay. So, well, obviously, so suppose this is the real height of the time, but obviously, get to sort of mid to late 90s. You I suppose you kind of call it a day on Carter. I mean, how did it sort of come to an end? Just if you don't mind me asking.
Steadily, slowly, and quite depressingly. With kind of smaller audiences, kind of band difference, because by the time we finished, there were 7 people in the band, and we weren't really getting on that well with each other. And Jim and I weren't really getting on that well with each other, and it was because it was such a come down, really, after being really popular and then kind of being dropped like a stone. I mean, it's because Britpop came along and things like that, and people found that more exciting because it was new. It was something new.
During pretty much the height of Britpop, there, I remember you seeing you headline I think it was the Enemy stage or something like that, with the tent to Reading.
Oh yeah.
And that was brilliant. I think you had Wes at this point.
That's right.
You'd hurt your back, actually. I remember you had
that was 1996, I think.
Was it? Yeah.
So, I think, or 5 or 6, something like that. Yeah, I'd hurt my back really badly cleaning the bath.
Yeah. Yes. And but that was high profile slot. That was the Sunday, Reading on the. I suppose it was second stage, but still, it's a headline slot at Reading. And
but I missed Neil Young. Neil Young was on the main stage, and I missed it. I like Neil Young.
I do.
And I had to sit down for the gig. It was horrible.
I kind of had to sit. I had to actually be seated for a Rolling Stones gig. That. I mean, it was a great gig. Don't get me wrong, but that was just the one thing where I was a little bit. I want to get up, and badly.
Oh yeah. So imagine having to sit down for playing your own gig. That's even worse.
That
was at that festival. I think I got up for the last 2 songs, and everyone thought I was just kidding. But I was in extreme pain for 2 songs.
How's your arm? You'd injured your arm as well. You're a bit concerned about guitar.
That was earlier on. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I think that was in 91. That was 91.
Sorry, no, this is more recently.
Recently. Oh.
Yeah, it's Smokin Donuts.
Actually, that was my road traffic accident when I fell over the jump leads.
Okay.
It still won't go straight. Look.
Can we talk about the Abdu EPs, Jeff? Can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was actually about to go for it to start going on to that
Just
part of it. I'm trying to keep it in the sort of kind of a chronological.
chronological. Okay, yeah, sorry.
So you can probably tell from the interview, Mark's more the buff here on your career than I am. So it's good for me. I'm finding stuff out, which is what I really enjoy doing when I do these things. Actually finding stuff out for myself. It's that's what I really enjoy when I actually have people on to the channel. So, but so that came about 98 or so. I keep butchering the name of your 97. Yeah. Abdoujaparov was named after a cyclist. Is that correct?
Abdoujaparov.
Yeah, I butcher the name of that all the time.
Abdoujaparov. You just say it. I even write a song so you can say it. So you'd remember how to say it. You should.
But it's named after a cyclist. Is that correct?
It's named after Jamaluddin Abdoujaparov.
Yeah,
he won the green jersey in the Tour de France in 1997. 7, one of those. He was an inspirational cyclist because he was like punk rock as a cyclist, and most cyclists aren't really punk rock. They're kind of very clean living and kind of but he was kind of a bit. And then he kind of got banned from cycling for taking too many drugs. So, that he was like he was like the forerunner. We wouldn't have Lance Armstrong if it wasn't for him.
He was. I probably more accurate. He's probably the first person caught for taking drugs. To probably be more accurate, but
yeah, he would be the first one to be properly taken down for it. Yeah, maybe.
So so how did that project sort of come about then?
Well, that was I mean, because we finished Carter, and then I didn't ever want to do anything to do with music ever again after that. I decided I wasn't going to do that. I was going to become a web designer. I learned how to code HTML and all that stuff. and then I accidentally started writing songs. And then I kind of recorded them and I thought, I might as well just release a record then. And then I thought, I might as well just do some gigs then. And I'd already decided that if I ever had another band, it was going to be called Abdoujaparov. So it wasn't, that was easy, that bit. And it just went from there, really. Just got some friends together to play in the band. And it was, as is now, a kind of pretty much, I mean, I have got a core band now, but does change all the time.
How many members have you had now? I mean, I
don't know how many members, but I think there's been something like 80 something different lineups. It's 21 years. It's a long time.
I think you might have Hawkwind beaten.
No one's ever going to beat Hawkwind. We have lineups within the set.
That's
and Marky Smith as well probably had similar things.
He rattled through them for different reasons. So.
Okay, we've got someone in the chat. I'm assuming this isn't the Robbie Williams, but there's a question for you. Who's your favourite?
Please say the Frank Waters. It was the Frank and Waters.
Was it genuinely?
And the Sultans of Ping, just to be fair to the other Cork band that I love. And Family Cat and EMF.
Family Cat, I did see Frank and Waters support you, I think, in Portsmouth. That would have been around about the time of 1992. Yeah, so that was because they were in the charts as well. Again, unusually, I think. Charted really highly at that time, didn't it?
No, After All was quite a big hit for them.
Yeah, right. But Family Cat are one of my favourite of your contemporaries. Really, they were great. We
tried to get them back together again to do the supports for the reunion gigs. Like every time we did a reunion gig, we tried to get them back to do the support, but they just couldn't get it together.
No. Are they in different bands now? Or are they still?
Fred is still playing, don't think the others. Oh, John is still playing, but I don't think the others are. Not in any bands that I know of, anyway. I might be, they can correct me if they like.
Yeah, no, they
Jack Adapter, who are really good. If you check out Jack Adapter,
okay.
If you've not seen them, they're really good. They, we did. Was it last year or the year before when we did one of the Shine Festival things? Not the Birmingham one. We did the one in Minehead, and Jack Adapter were on that night, and they were really good. Really, really liked it. Good stuff.
Yeah, I remember. Because that was actually very shortly after you played here, Bessie, and that was I think was it Sunday you played at Shine On.
Yeah.
One of my reservations about those festivals is that it is mainly a bit of a throwback thing, but actually you had a bit of a run of bands there yourselves, it very much included, where it was a new product, it was a new...
Yeah, there was that little section, yeah, it was quite nice, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry to have missed that, really. Okay, all right, I'll check them out. That's good, yeah, so big up for the Family Cat.
Yeah. So you did that. I mean, you obviously you did. I will get this. I'm just going to say I will get this right before the end of the stream. Abdoujaparov.
Yay!
So I got it right. Right.
It.
Now, if I get it, probably that will be the only time. But I will. I'm just terrible at pronouncing long words, I'm afraid. So, but so you're doing that, and you obviously done off and on some Carter reunions over the years. But I was obviously that. What's this band I saw you in last year, which I know you recently parted ways with them, but how did you get involved with Ferocious Dog?
Oh, Ferocious Dog. Well, it was the year that one of the reunion gigs, I think it's when we did Bearded Theory. Afterwards, or the day afterwards or something, Dan, who's the fiddle player for Ferocious Dog, came up to me and asked, can we have a photo together and stuff, and we kind of got on really well. And then didn't think anything more of it, really. And then I think round about just before Christmas, I got a message from him saying, do you want to join Ferocious Dog? And it was totally out of the blue, and I thought, huh? And then I just sent a message back saying, I don't think I'm good enough. And he went, yeah, of course you are. And I went, all right then. So I did. And I was in them for 4.5 years.
I'll definitely testify. Having seen Ferocious Dog, you were good enough. I'll just definitely testify to that. They're really good. They're really good bands.
The thing is that they're all really good musicians, and I don't really count myself as a good musician. I'm a kind of a jobby musician. I can just about do what I do. So I never did feel that I was good enough to play in that band.
Hey, that's massively self-deprecating.
All that stuff. Well, I can't do that. Well, I can do that.
But
yeah.
That's hugely self-deprecating, though. I mean, you're a great musician. Some of your I remember, from the influences you stated at the start there with the punk movement being, am I right in thinking that Joe Strummer, when Carter came along, spoke incredibly positively about them? Didn't he say how great they were?
Oh yeah. Joe was really, he was really cool about it. That was a nice thing to have someone that is one of your heroes that your stuff's worthwhile. That was really nice, and he was in front of a load of really wanky musician types in a music shop as well that were giving me a hard time up until that point. And then all of a sudden they were, "Oh, can we help you, sir? Can we help you?"
So, yes, because I mean, that was so. Talk about I mean, obviously the projects you're doing now. So we got a few more. We got a few minutes left. So, so we talked a bit about Abdoujaparov, and obviously Smokin Donuts as well. So what do you want to talk about? What projects you kind of got going? I mean, when I mentioned those two, I don't know if you got other irons in the fire.
The one that you've missed out is Keith Top of the Pops.
Yeah, fantastic.
And I've been in that band for, I think, it's more than 8 years. I've been playing bass for them, and they're brilliant.
Yeah, it is brilliant.
And we were supposed to be recording our third, I think it's our third album, just when the lockdown happened. So that's still got to happen yet. We've still got to go in. We even had a rehearsal, which we don't usually have. We had a rehearsal to work out the songs. We usually just go to the studio and start playing and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, we actually had a rehearsal this time. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And obviously I haven't been able to play any gigs for 4 months now. And I had a whole summer of festivals with Abdu and Smokin Donuts and some gigs with Keith Top of the Pops as well. So none of those have happened. So I'm hoping that at one point we're going to catch up with all that stuff. I'm writing the new Abdu album, which is going pretty well, actually. I've got enough songs for an album. I've got more than enough songs for an album. And I've released 2 singles that I've recorded here by myself. But I want to record the album with the whole band properly. I want to record the album in the studio with the whole band. So whenever that will happen. So that's going to be cool. And then I'm guessing that when we start playing gigs again, Smokin Donuts will probably record a new EP too. Just like a bit of a writing prolific kind of time. It's been nice.
I've been mentioning the 2 EPs because they're both really good. I mean, they document the times perfectly, to be honest. With them, We're All Gonna Die, you were quick off the draw with that, because that was
true tech behavior. True tech, behave yourself.
What was that? Hair and lizards.
Marshall. It's broken though.
Yeah.
I had hair when I was in the 80s. I missed that. Yeah, I don't have any hair now. Yeah, thank you for that.
That's why I keep mine long, because I'm thinking I'm naturally going to lose it within 10 years anyway. So just enjoy long hair while I can.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I look really shit with long hair. Really, really bad. I've got photos of it, and terrible. Never bad idea.
I need a barber's quite quickly. 4th of July, apparently. That's good.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I was going to say with them, We're All Gonna Die. That was really quick work there, Les, because that was just on the cusp of lockdown, wasn't it? Basically.
Yeah. I think I'd already written some of the music for it, because I'd already started writing the album before the lockdown.
Okay.
And then I do tend to write about how I feel at the time. It just came out, and I thought, wow, this sounds really good. I'm going to release it as a single.
Yeah. No, it is.
I had a couple, and one of the songs on that EP was one that I played with Abdu at the 100 Club gig when we had our 20th anniversary gig. We played that song, and I think I played it solo a couple of times. Right. And then the other one I'd just written sometime last year, I think, that I'd already recorded. So that one went straight out.
Okay.
It was great. It was great to record something. I'd mixed it one day, and then the next day I sent it off to be manufactured, and then the day after that it was released. It was that was really nice. It was really quick.
I mean, you were always good with topical social commentary, but that was just like immediate.
I think I've got all the lockdown songs out of the way now. I'm not going to put them on the album because I think that it just won't work. They'll be on their time, I think.
They're brilliant. They're really good songs, but yeah, I suppose it's off very specific moment, isn't it? So.
Yeah, I think so. I've got the other songs on the album aren't specifically lockdown orientated. I think they're more general. So I hope. I quite like.
Finish up. Sorry, let's go and finish up. What were you just going to say?
Oh, that's I was just bigging myself up. I quite like them. They're quite good.
Yeah.
Quickly before Jeff winds up, you've got a live album as well. I think.
I forgot about that one. Yeah, God, it's been a big year, isn't it? Yeah, live albums out. There might even be some left. There might be a few left, actually. You can go on to the Carter USM store, which is on Carter USM Co UK, I think. And that's really good. Apparently, it's everyone thinks it's a really good live album.
Brilliant.
And
cool.
Even I had a really nice message from Richie, who's in Abdou. He plays bass with Abdou and sings. He said he got because I sent the band copies of the live album, and he said he got it. He played it in the car, and he said he was driving along. He actually forgot it was us that he was listening to. He enjoyed it so much.
By the way, that's carterusm.co.uk. So for all your Carter needs.
That's it. Hell yeah, you can get all your t-shirts, all your CDs. You can order Jim Bob's got a new album coming out in August. Order that. That's very good.
Yeah, he's got a book as well, isn't he? His book is Waterstones is reopened. I was going to get that today, but yeah, Jim's book is also out, isn't it?
Yeah. There's all sorts of goodies you can spend your money on in that shop.
Yeah. So we've got that. So yeah, is there anything else you'd like to plug before we wind this up, Les?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered everything pretty nicely with the nice little merch thing on the end there. That's very good.
Yeah. I might just ask you one question then. That just what I think would be a good one to end on. In closing, is there anything you haven't said, just because this is going to be up on YouTube for us? Is there anything you haven't had the chance to say to your fans that you'd like to say to them and want to take this opportunity?
Thank you. Mainly, thank you for listening and buying stuff and keeping me in the lifestyle that I've become accustomed to.
I think the Carter fans would never forgive us, Les, if we didn't. And I know it's a predictable question, but is there any possible chance of reunion? Can you see another Brixton Academy at any point?
No, I honestly don't. We have been asked several times.
Yeah.
Like basically every year since we said we're not going to do it anymore, we get another offer come in. And every year the money gets bigger and bigger. Yeah. But I mean, I just don't think it would be as much fun to do.
No.
I think it might be just like we've done it enough times now, and the last time was so good.
Yeah,
and
it was.
We're both getting older. And the other thing is that Jim is really carving himself a really nice new career with his new stuff, with his books, with his new album coming up, and I think it would be daft for Jim to do it. I think it would spoil what he's doing. It'd lessen what he's doing now, I think.
I think with both of you, both of you have carved very, very incredibly sort of credible solo careers. And in some ways it would be a celebration of that, it'd be a coming together of that. But
yeah,
that's from a fan's perspective.
I can see why. Yeah, I could see why it would be a popular thing for people to go and see, but it always has to be really that Jim and I want to do it.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think we could say yes, but at the moment we'd really be doing it for the money, and I think that would be a horrible thing to do.
Definitely. So hopefully when gigs resume, whenever that may be, Have we? Can we look forward to some stuff from Abdu? I guess is Batitude still a possibility at the end of the year? Maybe.
Might be. I don't know. Or it kind of all depends, doesn't it? Whether there's a second wave of nasty virus, or
yeah,
because sticking 200 people in a room that's only supposed to hold 100.
Yeah,
the best way of not getting the coronavirus.
Yeah, we call it the sneezy cough thing on YouTube because they don't. It's another word they don't seem to like right now. So
really, okay.
Yeah, they're like I said, they're getting very, very funny now about certain words. Okay, well, we'll probably bring this to an end now. We've been going a good hour. Les, thank you very much for agreeing to come on.
It's been fun.
Really enjoyed this. Yeah, it's been a really, really good conversation. I feel. Especially want to thank one of my best friends in the world, Mark, for coming on and co-hosting, because this is a new experience to Mark as well. So thank you very much. He's probably he could fill in a lot of blanks and save me doing a lot of reading up, I think, and trying to look for obscure articles, because Mark pretty much knows most of that stuff about your career already. So it was good to have him as a resource as well. So
thank you.
Yeah. So thanks to Mark, thanks especially to Les, thanks to everyone in the live chat. Just trying to think what we got coming up on the channel. I think it's going to be on Sunday. I'll be doing my Asterix stream with Hissy, but I think it's her turn to host it on her channel. I believe. Now, tomorrow I'm on One Ring's channel for this Media Musing show. I'm doing the. We're going to be looking at the Big Lebowski. I have my certificate of ordination ready here from the Church of the Latter-day Dude. So I am an ordained Dudist minister, and I believe the big one tomorrow. I believe this is on Math from MathPig's channel. Our friend Critical Cripple, who's been in the chat tonight. It's his birthday stream tomorrow, so we're gonna get him on, and probably embarrass him a bit. So but he's a great member of our little sort of online YouTube community, and it's kind of the glue that holds it all together, really. So a couple of our friends are throwing him a bash on their channel. So socially distanced birthday party.
Happy birthday for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this has been Jeff of the Scummer. We shall see you guys all later. Okay. Salute.
Okay. Bye then.